Good evening to you. Uh, how are you all? Today we will discuss very very important feature of any object oriented programming language, and of course Java is enriched with this feature or property. It is a very useful feature. With this feature, the programmer gets so much benefit with the proper usage of this feature. This is called inheritance. As you know, by the name, it implies that we are going to inherit some entities which are already existing. Instead of defining it from the beginning, or instead of defining it as a new definition, we can use those definitions. We can use those items which are already there. So we don't need to define or write again. We will be just inheriting. So whenever we talk about inheritance, definitely an hierarchical concept will come into the picture. And in that hierarchy, at the top level, definitely there will be a configuration which is common to all the candidates or to all the items which will inherit that common item or common feature. So that must be called super, like a superset. Any subset or any set which inherits that superset will have the same feature, right? So this property we will be using in Java also, right? So how to do that? How to implement that one? I send you material. That material we will be explaining. Generally in Java we can broadly classify this inheritance into some categories. What are those categories? Single inheritance, you can see. Here class A may be considered as a superclass, and if class B, another block of code, if wants to use the features of this class, it will just inherit the features of that class. So here this class A will be the superclass and class B will be the inherited class. Single inheritance. Like say For example, a four-wheeler may have some features, common features, right? So that may be considered in class A. Now class B, there are so many categories of four-wheelers. Let's say Ambassador, let's say Honda, let's say Audi. So all these four-wheelers will inherit the features of four-wheeler class in addition to some additional features. So this is the implication, or this is the necessity of using inheritance. Next one, multi-level inheritance. So class A, the super class, will be inherited by class B, which will again be inherited by another class. Let's say class C. Right. So this four-wheeler, for example, class B, we can classify some vehicles with some extra feature, like say auto gear facility. Right. Now class C will have the feature the four-wheeler and the auto gear facility with some extra facilities. Maybe nowadays so many common four-wheeler vehicle is embedded with the auto gear facility, but definitely Honda City will differ with the Audi. So this way, multi-level inheritance is another category of this inheritance. Hierarchical inheritance. So many, more than one classes may inherit a common class. Just now I told this Audi and this Honda City are the two different classes, but the same feature inherited from class A as a four-wheeler or the auto gear facility. Now, another type of inheritance may be there in our common sense, generally. So the last one is multiple inheritance. Means there will be a single inherited class which needs to inherit more than one superclass. You can say for class C there are two superclasses at the same hierarchical level, class A, class B. But unfortunately, I'll say fortunately, Java does not support these inheritance. Java does not support these inheritance. This is supported by so many other object-oriented programming language like C++, but Java doesn't support these. To remove the confusion from the compiler, Java definitely has come with another alternative method to implement this multiple inheritance. That is we called interface. Right. Now one by one we will discuss this. So today's topic mainly will be on inheritance. Here you can see Java does not support multiple inheritance, right? So how Java resolves this, that we will also discuss. So let us start from the beginning. If we go through the note from the beginning, it's very easy and lucid note I prepared for you. That is, say, so pictorially we can have this conception like, say, if a class gets this feature, only one variable, that is integer variable, and for example the class is having with two methods, addition and subtraction. So this is a class. We can generate objects of this class. So the objects of this class will be able to access only these features, will be able to manipulate that data with these methods. But if I want to add something else, the extra feature like multiplication, and I don't want to embed this method with this class, I want to make a separate object or class which will inherit this one, right? Which will inherit the property of this class. So I don't need to define a separate class with this feature again. I will just use this existing feature with some another new feature embedded with this inherited class. Got it? So now let us see, let's discuss with some example. Okay. So there is a keyword called extends. So with this extends keyword we will implement this inheritance feature. So as I told you, there will be a superclass, means the feature of the class which needs to be inherited by its subclass. That's why in our example we have given the name. So class super, it will have some features, and class sub, we are creating another class which will avail the feature of this superclass with some extra features defined. So in that case we have to write class sub extends super, means class sub is inheriting the feature of this superclass, right? So let's have a look at the sample code calculation. So this is a class calculation with an integer variable and with two methods, addition and subtraction. It's very easy. You just listen to me carefully, you will remember for the lifetime, right? Addition, the addition method takes two arguments, two integer variable in text one, and we are just adding up with a z, okay, and we are printing the value of z, the system not out printing, right? And likewise subtraction, we are taking two integer variables, we are subtracting the value of y from x and storing it into z, and we are just printing the value of z. Okay. Now if we are creating another separate class where along with this addition and subtraction multiplication will be there. So here another new class came into the picture, my calculation. My calculation is another class which is inheriting the calculation class. So we don't need to define the addition and subtraction method again, right? With this extends calculation, with this extends keyword, we are inheriting this calculation superclass to this my calculation class. So here the new feature which we intend to add, to have with this, that is multiplication. Multiplication of two variables, two arguments. So we are multiplying and storing at z, and we are just showing the result of z. Now how to use, how to call the methods after creating the objects. Here this is our main method. Okay, so we have taken two variables a and b, initialized with some data. You can also take it from keyboard using that IO streaming method which we discussed in the last class, right? Okay, let me see how many of you have joined. Okay, okay, good. So let us continue. So this is the main method with the two integer variables, and we are creating an object of this my calculation class, of this inherited class my calculation, right? So definitely the object of the inherited class, means this subclass, will be able to access the properties of the superclass, right? So my calculation is an object we are creating using this name, my calculation demo new my calculation. So we created an object demo with this my calculation class. Now demo dot addition, we want to invoke or call this method addition. Invoking is much more technical term than calling, right? So invoking, so we are going to invoke a method addition which is not there in this subclass, but since we inherited the superclass for this my calculation class, we can avail of all the features of all the methods and variables of the superclass. So this addition is not a method of this my calculation class. Addition is a method of the superclass. So demo dot addition. So demo dot addition, that the compiler will, Java interpreter will go for checking where the addition method is there. It will not find there, then it will find there the class is, this object is inherited with some super object class, the my calculation, then means this calculation, then the interpreter will search the calculation class where there is any such method, the name addition is defined with this or not. Very simple. So it will get, after getting these method successfully, this method will be invoked, right? So it's been invoked successfully. Now likewise the subtraction, which is also a method of the superclass, will be invoked by the inherited object of this my calculation class, right? Demo is an object of this my calculation class which inherited this calculation superclass. Okay, fine. Now this new method which is the property of this inherited class only, that is multiplication. So we are just invoking as usual demo dot multiplication, which is the only property of this, which is the indigenous property, only indigenous property of this inherited class, that is my calculation, this multiplication, right? A. So this is the result. We are running this program with this, and sum of the given number 30 this. So we are getting the result according. So this is a very easy program, easy code to understand, to get the essence of this single inheritance Java, right? This we discussed. Now there is another keyword, super keyword. Super keyword definitely is a keyword which is associated with the superclass. So the super keyword is similar to this keyword. This keyword means whenever we wanted to access some feature of the object of the superclass, we applied this dot data or this dot method without creating any object of it. So this becomes THIS, this becomes an object of that class by itself. Okay, we discussed it earlier. Okay, so let us use that concept here, super dot variable, super dot method. Now let's have a look at this example with this super keyword implemented. So class, superclass, we have given the name superclass, single integer variable, now initialized by 20. Display method of superclass, we are displaying the message, public void display. This is the display method of superclass. We are displaying this message on, right? The superclass is ended with this one variable and initialized and another method display. Now public class, subclass, another class. I have given the name subclass. You can choose any other name which is inheriting the superclass with this extends keyword, and this int num10. Num is an integer variable which is a member of this subclass, which is not a member of this superclass. So these though the names are same, but these variable and these variables two are different variables. But how the interpreter will distinguish it? Right? It's a question. Interpreter will get confused now. You will not get any compilation error, but on execution, at the time of execution, the interpreter will get confused if we don't separate it, if we don't segregate it explicitly. The interpreter will get confused which variable to handle, the variable of superclass or the variable of subclass, because the name is same, right? So the way how we are doing this, so we have defined another method over here. We are just displaying some message. This is a display method of subclass, nothing else. You ended this class. Now public void my method, we are creating another method public. Here what we have done in this method, we are creating an object sub of subclass. Sub becomes an object of the subclass. Okay, this is we are doing in a different display method. Display method is a method of which class? Display method is a method of this subclass, right? Okay, like display, like this my method. My method is a method of subclass like display method, right? So subclass sub, new subclass, we are creating a object of subclass. Now we are invoking the display method of subclass sub dot display. Here also you can see that we have two different methods with the same name. Not only the variable names are same, here also the methods with the same name are there. Methods of superclass, the name of the method of superclass is display, as well as the name of the method of subclass is also display, right? Display, right? Okay, so what to invoke, right? So we are distinguished this by when the object of the inherited class, that is subclass, will invoke this sub dot display, it will invoke the object of inherited class by default. It will not go to invoke the object of superclass. So innermost process will be completed first, then outermost, right? Innermost means what we did in simple way, that in any nested feature, like say conditional block with if else, or the looping, nested looping, first innermost loop will be completed first, then the control will go for completing the outermost. In this way, here this innermost mean this local scope, this inherited, the features, processing of the features of inherited class will be completed. So though we are having a method, two methods of the same name, whenever we are going to call that method from the object of inherited class, the method of inherited class will be invoked. That's why this is the sub dot display, invoking the display method of subclass. Now if we want to invoke the method with the same name of the superclass, this is a default keyword super. What we are talking about, we will be using super dot display, super dot display. See, this sub, this object, this name is given by us, right? But super is not given by us. Super is the default keyword in Java. So we use this super keyword when to access the feature of super class. Maybe it will maybe involved with some with accessing the feature of this super class within itself or from outside of this. So super dot display, invoking the display method of super class. Now got it? Got the difference? So the compile, the interpreter will not get any scope to be confused with this, right? Now printing the value of variable name of subclass. How? Now likewise we invoked the same method with the same name from an inherited object or from the super object. This way we will also access the variable also, the member. So here if we put sub dot name, sub dot num, then this num variable of the sub object of subclass will be accessed. And if we write this super dot num, likewise this num variable of superclass will be accessed, just like this, right? So eventually we are creating an object of subclass obj in our main method, because this is eventually is going to be executed. So when the interpreter first creates this object obj of subclass, this subclass which has inherited a superclass, so this obj object is now free to access its own indigenous property along with the properties of superclass. Got it? Clear? Now we are just invoking a method obj.MyMethod, which is already defined in the inherited object obj.MyMethod. Let's see the my method, this my method. Okay, in this my method we created an object of inherited class. Okay, and we availed the feature of the inherited superclass and of this class, this subclass, right? Got it? Very easy. We are executing this after compilation. So this is a display method. Sometimes it is showing 10 and sometimes it is showing 20. Okay, then the name value of the variable name num in subclass 10 and superclass 10. In superclass 10 we initialized that variable with the 20, and the subclass we initialized the variable content with the 10, right? Got it? So far I think it's clear to all of you. Please respond. Ratan, Ataur, Nitesh, Gulam, Sweta, Yogesh, Devarun. Clear? Anand Kujur. Clear? Please respond. So after I get the response from you, I will continue with the remaining part of this inheritance. Today we will discuss only this feature, important feature of this Java. Yes sir, I got response from Somo Dipta only. Gulam, yes sir. Next. Expecting the response from other also. See all your communication with me now are being embedded with the video. Okay, I embedded it so that we are transparent, right? Nothing to hide, right? What do you think? We have nothing to hide now. What do you do? It should be known by public, right? It should, so that the other persons, all the persons can get the benefit of this video. This is our purpose along with you, right? Gulam Moinuddin, yes sir. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, let me take a break with some message regarding the assignments, right? So you may be confused with this, that the assignments what I have given you, the assignments of the previous 4-year questions, okay, back of the university, last 4-year questions of the university. What was my purpose? Number one, if we start solving these assignments topic wise, it is not possible to solve all the assignments because we have not covered the entire syllabus yet. But the topics which are being covered, so if we can find the questions from that topic from each and every year, the task will be completed, right? So gradually, whenever we will be covering the next topic, we will solve the assignments of the next topic. That's why I mentioned that topic also. You are supposed to solve the assignments of the questions of these topics which I have discussed, which we have covered so far, right? So the entire task are getting split into subtasks. Okay, so and you are just keeping all these topics in a single place, so that before the exam it will be very easy for you just to have a look all the questions of that same topic uh, at the same time, same topic, right? So it will be very much comfortable for you, and this is the style of note you should maintain always. Like say, so many of you can must prepare for the campus interview or the semester exam. So if you keep the notes of different topics in different places, you will not get interested. So like say in your GATE, if you take the preparation of GATE, if you amalgamate, if you collect all the questions of last 5 years of GATE in a single topic wise, it will be very easier for you and you will get interested. This is the actual way, right? So I am planning to actually to put the questions in this mock test from the GATE question paper. So that will be very good for you, very effective for you for the campus also. And the questions I am putting also, these will be the questions of GATE as well as this will be the questions of the campus interview, because as you know that in campus, in all for all companies, they must expect the basic knowledge of core Java, all the IT companies. So this is confirmed. So you have to, if you get prepared this subject the way I am guiding you, so you don't need to take headache of this Java language at least. Okay, so let's let's complete the remaining part. What do you say, right? Okay, let's continue. So invoking the superclass constructor, we discussed the constructor, how to invoke the constructor of this class, because we can use constructor, we can create constructor of the derived class or inherited class or the super class also. So the way is this: superclass, variable, and here we are initializing the value of this variable with a constructor. As you know, the constructor name of the constructor is a special methods with the property that the constructor name must be same as the class name, and constructor is generally used to initialize the variables or members of the object. So here we are initializing it with this constructor superclass int age. So this age and this age means this is the object of this class. Now another get age also, maybe another alternative way to take the value of the age from or here we are printing the variable with this get age, right? So it would have been good if the name would have been the put age, right? Okay, anyways, so name doesn't matter, just if we maintain this one. Okay, now see, public class, a subclass is a inherited class of the superclass, right? So here also we are initializing the variable of what? here you can see that there is no such variable age of this subclass. Since we want to avail the variable which is defined in the superclass, that's why we didn't put any other variable. We are just availing this variable which is not the variable of this subclass, rather which is the variable of the class superclass which we are inheriting with this extends keyword. Right now, see this constructor of subclass constructor, the same name int age. Now to initialize, we are initializing the variable age from the subclass in this way. If we call again the constructor of superclass, this method, when this method will be invoked by the interpreter, the control will go to the superclass to access this method, super method. And here in this super method, see this super age, so this super class, right, super method, here it will be this super was the let me see, yes, okay, let us discuss from this void main, then that flow of sequence will be easily understood. Right, the public static void main in this subclass S. Right, so we are actually creating an object S of this subclass, right, with this method subclass 24. Now we are setting this age is subclass S. So subclass is a constructor. We are calling it at the we are calling initializing the object with this 24 this value. So the subclass, when this statement is executed by the interpreter, it will come here subclass int age. Right, this age variable is of the superclass, so super age. Now what will happen, this super age means this one, this age, and this dot age, here this means super, so this dot age will be initialized by the age, but this will not be the super age, it will be super class. Right, the name will be super class, mistake is there, it will be a super class, okay, instead of this super. And because the name of the class is super class, right, okay. And so with this super, actually this super is the keyword. With this super keyword we are going to avail the variable of age of superclass. So the moment this will be executed, this super will come to find another variable of this. So in age, this age will be initialized, so this dot with this operator. Right, so this is all about of this and age dot get age. So get age is another method of this method public void get age, and we are just printing the age. Right, okay. So yeah, fine. So got it? Any questions from this? Any question from this? Any question? Okay, I think it's fine. So you are getting, no? Okay, let me. Okay, fine. Sir, please tell what type of question will come in the upcoming interview. See, I have said the question, so you are you know my answer because you are the students of mine from the first year, right? So why are you asking this question? Definitely, every time I put the questions so far, the portions what I am able to cover. Okay, I don't, I definitely, I don't, I want to put any questions from the topics which I haven't covered yet. Okay, okay, so get age simple, and is a relationship, that is the implementation. See, as you know, that is the reverse triangle, this is the is a relation. Okay, here you can see that an animal we have, that we are talking about, not that multiple inheritance is not accepted by Java. Multiple inheritance means when a class tries to inherit more than one superclass. This is not acceptable. So this we this Java does it. Java implements this with some another feature that is called interface. An interface is extended by this interface, this property we avail with the implement keyword. Like say inheritance, we implement with the with the extend keyword, like that we implement the interface property, which is an alternative method of this level, this multiple inherit to multiple class with the implements keyword, right? So let us discuss this example. Here animal class is, this mammal class is inheriting the property of this animal. Okay, reptile is also inheriting the property of animal. We here the mammal, we are defining the mammal class here. Public class dog, another class is there, that is dog, which is inheriting the property of this mammal, and which is inheriting the property of animal. So this is an example of multi-level inheritance. But, and this is an example, see public study environment, there is the dog, and this animal A, new animal object A is an object of animal, where how this dog gets this object, because dog is extending, inheriting the feature of mammal, and mammal again is inheriting the feature of animal. So availing the feature of animal from the class this dog by this class is allowed. So this A also becomes an object of this dog class, right? Mammal M, mammal, because this is directly inherited by this dog. Okay, so mammal M is also allowed, this student is also allowed, and definitely dog D is being created by its own class dog, right? D. So AMD. Okay, you can see. So these all are allowed. Okay. So this is, we are just showing the message here. This is an example of the multi-level inheritance, not multiple inheritance. Okay. Now we will go for this. Since we have a good understanding of the extends keyword, let us look into how you got it now. You got this example. Actually, this example is of this one. Okay. C was the dog, right? And it is the mammal, and it is the animal. A was animal. This animal is being inherited by this mammal class, and this mammal class is being inherited by the dog class. This is an example of this this code is an example of this multi-level inheritance. Now we will go for this multi-level inheritance, multiple inheritance. let us look into how the implements keyword is used to get an is relationship. Is means here an reverse triangle. The triangle, the 2 points are inherited by a single point, reverse triangle. So is a looks like this. That's why it is called sometimes is a relationship. Okay. So the implements keyword is used with classes to inherit the properties of an interface. An interface can never be extended by a class, right? Definitely interface. Now see this example. Right, this implements, where this implements, see this example, right? Class mammal implements animal, and this was the different thing. It was the example of the multi level inheritance, and here what we are doing, we have created an interface animal, right? And this and another, this interface class is being implemented by mammal, and after that this mammal class is being inherited by this dog. So dog is at the bottom of this reverse triangle. Dog wants to inherit two class. One is mammal, another is animal at the same level. At the same level, right? Here it was not at the same level. Huh? Okay. So let us check another. Say this one. This is the dog class. It wants to inherit the animal class, at the same time it wants to inherit the mammal class, which are at the same level. Okay, so we can, what we can do, since it is not allowed in Java, we can inherit the any one class, either class A or class B, with the extends keyword, and we can inherit this class B, creating an interface class of B, and we can implement this feature with the implements keyword. This what we have done here. So this what we have done here. Interface animal, we have created an interface which is implementing the feature of animal. Here we are creating here mammal class implementing the feature of the animal class, and this dog is getting the feature of mammal. So dog, at the same, dog is now able to avail the feature of the mammal and animal also, right? So dog has two super class, the mammal and animal, with this alternative approach. Now we are creating an object of this mammal. Okay, it's allowed, simply aim new mammal, because this dog has inherited the feature of mammal, so dog D, new dog. Okay, but at the same time we can avail the feature of animal, because mammal, which has been inherited by this dog, the mammal is inheriting the inheriting the properties of animal, not inheriting mammal, the mammal implementing the properties of animal. So now D is accessible to this the feature of mammal and animal accessible to D at the same time. So instance of animal, this is the message we have printed, right? Public class vehicle is an example or nothing, private speak. So this, with this we are concluding our today's class. If you have any confusion with this inheritance class, you can let me know with the Google Classroom, or in the next class we will discuss. But my plan is that in the next class we will start with a new feature, okay, with the doubts of this class if any. Okay, good night all of you, good night, stay safe at your home. Okay, bye.